Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining our downtime webinar. We know that this is an issue for restaurant operators everywhere. Your stores are going offline and you have no idea why, and you're losing sales. So today, let's dig into how we can stop this and protect your profits. Going over today's menu, we're going to do introductions. We're going to talk about the impact of downtime to your restaurants. We're going to go over the four reasons why downtime happens. And then Matt and I are going to go over some takeaways on how you can prevent this or make sure your stores are staying online. And then, of course, at the end, we're going to have time for questions. But if you have a question while we're presenting, you can always drop it in the chat, and then we'll get to it at the end of this presentation. Okay, now on to introductions. My name is Rachel Auer. I'm the product marketing manager here. My role is connecting the dots between our customers, the market, our product, and our internal teams. And I have a focus on our third-party delivery products. Fun fact about me is I've been viral for a picture that I was taken on vacation, so nothing bad. It was quite a while ago, but sometimes it's a little awkward or odd when I'm scrolling social media and a picture of me shows up.
Hello, I'm Matt Giller, product manager at Delegate, and my role is acting as the bridge between the business, technology, and the customers. And I really help drive our products with all the insight that I get from talking to our clients and potential clients. Fun fact about me, I am a coach hockey with my two daughters, and I am an avid, love doing household projects, and I'm stumbling my feet a little bit, put in a hot water heater a couple of weeks ago and posed some challenges, but I got through it.
Okay, and then what's an introduction without introducing Delegate? Delegate isn't just software. We are a team of restaurant people focused on modern restaurant problems. We were founded by restaurant owners for restaurant owners, and we've been solving these problems for restaurants for 20 plus years. We have experience with over 30,000 locations, but it's not just our experience, it's about the data. Delegate uses the power of data to enable you, restaurant operators, with insights and actions to improve your profits of your restaurants. Now let's jump into a little bit more content around downtime. So downtime on a DSP can have a significant impact to your profits. When we're talking about downtime, that means that you're not available on a third-party app such as Uber Eats, Grubhub, or DoorDash. In context too, downtime is how we're referring to it for this presentation, but it might also be heard as store closings, pauses, deactivations, and store closures. This can be a significant loss to your business, and you might not be totally aware of the impact. So let's jump in. Did you know that the average store has 3.5 hours of downtime per month? That probably doesn't sound so bad, but when you add the lost sales per hour, it's starting to make a major impact. So we have come up with $24 is the average lost store impact per hour of downtime. When we look at those numbers across restaurants, if you had 50 restaurants, that would add up to $4,200 a month in lost sales. If we keep that going with 100 restaurants, you're looking at $8,400. And then even if you had 500 restaurants, it's a staggering $48,000. But the impact doesn't stop there. We're talking about the average. Let's look at the bottom 5% or our worst performers. They have 58 hours of downtime per month. That's a lost sales of almost $1,392 per month for one restaurant. Now, if you take that across the year, that's over $17,000 or close to $17,000 a year of missed sales. So you can see very quickly the impact that this can have in your restaurants. Now, when we present this, we always hear, what is the impact? Why are my stores offline? And how can I prevent it? So Matt, do you want to jump into how and why stores are offline?
Yeah, I'd love to. So let's get into the four main reasons why stores get turned off. Number one, is going to be the delivery service provider. And this can be for multiple different reasons, but they can pause or deactivate a location. It can be from having an unhealthy ops rate. It could be from anything happening out from your performance with orders over time, having canceled orders, missed or inaccurate orders go out. When those add up, the delivery service providers have the option of turning off a location. And what will happen is when they turn off a location, you will get rerouted, or the orders from their customers get rerouted to another restaurant. So the number one reason is going to be the delivery service providers are turning you off. Number two is going to be a delivery driver. So they have the ability to mark a store closed on their phone. They can click it. They have the option of when they're picking up food. If the store is dark, the doors are locked, or it doesn't look like they're there, they can turn off a store. So if that is the case, or outside of that example, they do have the ability to turn a location off and pause it. Same thing applies where once the location is turned off, customer orders through the delivery service provider gets rerouted to another restaurant. So that's the second one. The third one is going to be what I call an intentional deactivation or pause. Now, this will happen for someone either at the store or an employee that has access to the delivery service provider portal or app. And what they'll end up doing, and there's very different reasons here, if they're too busy, they can pause, or if something major or an emergency happened, they can pause or deactivate the store. Also, intentional pauses or deactivations can mean if you're going to be closed for a day, say a holiday's coming and you couldn't staff enough people, you can pause or deactivate the store for a certain period of time. So all these unintentional pauses or deactivations come from the store employee. The fourth and last reason is going to be POS integration. And think of this as the plumbing pipe between the delivery service provider and the point of sale system. So this is going to be set up either by a corporate brand, or you could have a vendor that enables that transmission of those orders going into the point of sale system. So various things can happen here. So if internet is not working, someone unplugs part of the system. So the POS integration, if it's just too much going through, I've heard from some customers, it seems like it gets overheated, and we see that's a POS integration. So there's times when your store will get turned off just due to the data not being able to make it to the point of sale system. So these are the four main reasons why stores get turned off for intentional and unintentional reasons. All right, so let's talk a little bit about strategies and things that you can do to prevent these outages. First one, train your employees to turn it back on. So that's good to know. You have to be able to know when something is wrong. So it's very mindful, and something to add in a checklist or routine is every morning when you're coming in, you're looking over to see if you're online and accepting orders. And even throughout the day, you want to make sure that the orders are flowing. A manager on site or an area coach or even a supervisor is able to monitor and manage stores being active and online. And when they are not, they can turn them back on or contact the store and see what's going on. The second one is to work on improving the metrics. I talked about being closed by a delivery service provider. They will close you for having high avoidable cancels, missing incorrect items, or high driver wait times. If you're managing these at the store level and at the above store view, dictating and pushing down to make sure you're managing these properly and staying below thresholds, that will minimize your downtime and maximize your delivery revenue for your restaurants. So it's very important to key in on those, because both parties, the delivery service provider and the owners and operators of the store, want to make sure customers are having a good experience and having food in a timely manner. If you're living in that world, then you're maximizing sales and both parties are working together as they should. Now let's transition to strategies to protect profits, solutions of getting these stores online. We're going to talk about a couple of different strategies that you can do.
Thanks, Matt. So the first one that we have here is manage it yourself. So all of the apps, like we've mentioned, all of the third-party apps have a spot where you can go down, download them and add them to your phone and then get notifications as well. So there's options for push notifications as well as email. So you can go in and see when your store is down and actually activate it there. So you can manage it yourself. I would say this is the DIY model. The next one, we talked about this a little bit, but check your integrations. We know a lot of times that the brand is the one responsible. So sometimes you might have to reach out to somebody else to ask why or if anything's going on. But there's things that you can do yourself. So make sure your tablets are up to date with the most recent software. Check your internet connections. We've seen spotty internet connections causing the outages. And then physically look at your systems. We've also heard that cord was the problem and they had outages for almost 5 days and just really couldn't figure it out, replaced the cord, and they were running back as normal. The next option we have is a tool like Delegate's delivery operations. We have a tool called Activate that is running in the background using advanced algorithms that is hitting the button on your behalf. So your store is down, we will hit the button and turn it on. There's no monitoring by you, no looking in your app to make sure your store is up to date. Matt mentioned some really important metrics. We also have a tool that shows these metrics for you too, to enable that you're tracking to the right information so that your stores are not getting turned off because of poor metrics. Now I'm just going to go through these really quickly in a checklist format. So train your employees to turn the store back on. Really simple. Add it to a checklist. Just make sure your store is online. It gets missed a lot more than you would expect. Work to improve the app metric rates. We've seen improvement on just a few of these has led to a lot more store openings. So just tracking them and making sure that you're going to the best you can on those metrics. The next one we have is manage it yourself in the DSP app. The thing that we've heard about this is getting the alerts at 2 and 3 a.m. that your store is turned off is not always the most desirable when you're in bed trying to sleep. But if that's what it takes to make sure your store is staying online, going in the DSP app is the option there. Check your integrations. I think we could say this 100 times, but just making sure everything's working smoothly and flowing correctly for that heartbeat of the systems. And then partnering with a company like Delegate to do it for you on behalf of you and help you with monitoring those important metrics. So this is our checklist for strategies. And now we're going to open it up for Q&A. If you have a question that you want to ask, please make sure you're dropping it in the Q&A section or in the chat. And Matt and I will look at them now. Give me 1 second while I adjust my screen. Okay, the first question we have, where do I download my merchant apps?
Yeah, great question. I could take that one. So the merchant apps are going to be, depending on what phone you have, if you're an Apple or if you're an Android, you can get them in the store, the marketplace store. And what you want to look for is all three major DSPs, they have something called a merchant app that you can download, but they're all supported in Android and Apple stores. Great question.
Yeah, so it sounds like look for merchant version of each of the app and download it. Okay, next question here. I had no idea a driver could turn off my store. You know what? We hear that all the time, so you're not the only one. How are they doing it or why are they doing it?
Yeah, another good question. And this is, like I said before, it's kind of new to people, but the drivers, they do have a button they can mark the store closed. So when they have their mobile app up, when they're picking up orders, they do have the ability to turn off a store. So that is something that they can do. And from what I hear, it happens more when a store is like closed or the lights are off where they physically can't get in to get the order. But they do have that button on their phone. Good question.
Yeah, and then just to go a little further on Matt, the problem is they'll turn it off when your store's off, and then it continues to be off for the next day. It's not automatically turned on when you open at 6 a.m.
Correct. And that's part of that checklist, having a routine in the morning and making sure when you're open the doors or if you're an area coach that you're looking to see if all of your stores are online and ready to accept orders.
Okay, next question we have. How do I find out if my locations have been deactivated over the past few days or 30 days?
Yeah, good question. So you can find it two different ways. So the delivery service provider portal, each store has its own page and it will tell you if they're online and accepting orders or if they're paused or deactivated. And it will say how long they'll be paused or deactivated for. There's time there. The other option is each three of them, there's reporting functionality, and you can run a report more on the operations side, and it will show a metric called downtime. And you can see it for all of your locations where it will list out during whatever time frame you run it for, how long your stores have been paused or deactivated. Great question.
Awesome. Okay, and then the number one question I'm getting is, can I get a recording of this? So the team will send a recording out afterwards, but also if you use your link that you're in right now, after this is over, there'll be an on-demand version available using that specific link. Okay, and I think that's all the time we have for questions. Matt and I want to thank you for attending the webinar. It's been a pleasure to help everybody understand the impact of downtime a little bit more, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.